Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create the Taurus bracelet, and this is the next one in the Zodiac series. I apologize for those of you waiting for the Pisces. I was going to do that one next, but I really don't actually like the bracelet that I made. It is a monster tail design. I went to make it again and I just really don't like it. So bear with me on that one. I just need to tweak it, maybe even make a new one. I don't know, but I have to work on that. So this is the Taurus. And you will need 114 bands total. This is also a monster tail design. If you don't have a monster tail, you can certainly use some pins to make it as well on the loom. So the breakdown of this bracelet is 48 of this lighter green. You'll need 16 of the dark hunter green. You'll also need 16 of this tannish cap band color. And then 34 of the white. You also see the white on the side here. So I'll have that breakdown down below for you. So let's get our bands and we can get started. So to get started, you will either need to have a monster tail. We're going to be working with the middle 6 pins. So we won't be using the sides. If you don't have one, you can use a loom in the same setup. You'll just need to have 2 bar pins aligned. And then you'll use these 6. You'll follow the exact same steps that I'm doing, except you'll be using the loom, and I'll be using the monster tail. So you certainly can still make it if you do not have a monster tail. Start with the red dot on your left, just so it's easier for you to keep up with me. The first color that we are going to decide on is going to be the light green. And the first section is done a little bit differently, but I am going to use this mint green. And we're going to start by laying 2 diagonal bands in the shape of a V, like so. The next color you're going to choose is going to be this cap band color, this tan. I am going to use this dark hunter green, and we're going to place a cap band right here on the center, like so. Wrap it around 2 times. We're going to loom this out so both bands will go back to themselves. So you're just going to push in the cap band, grab the top, bring it back to itself, which will be to the right. And then this one will go to the left. Like so. Push that down some. Now we're going to grab the color that is the green on this bracelet, the hunter green. I'm going to use yellow for that. And we are going to lay this across the top, going around the middle. So we're going to connect it to the left, skip the middle, connect it to the right like that. But then you're going to grab your hook. You're going to grab the back of that yellow band and flip just the middle over. So it makes like a infinity or triple infinity. Turn the monster tail around. I may call this a loom, just out of habit. And now we are going to loop these 2 side pins. So we're literally just going to bring the bottom band up and over on both pins. Like that. Push that down. Turn your monster tail back around. And now we are going to grab the white that's in this one. I am going to use this pink color. You're going to need 2 of them. And we're going to lay it just like we did the green one the first time, diagonally, like a V. Like that. And like that. We're going to grab this cap band and bring it up and over those 2 bands. Like that. Turn your monster tail around. And now this time we are going to do what's called an inverted stitch. So you need to get your hook. We're going to go in front of the second band that's on the pin. So you can kind of use your hook to push the top one, get in front of the middle, and then grab the bottom and bring it up. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the inverted stitch. So you're getting in front of the middle, grab the bottom, and bring it up. Push that down. Like I said, the first section is different just for closure purposes, but I'll tell you once the actual pattern starts. So from here, we're going to turn our monster tail back around like this. And we need to move these 2 bands that are on the front here and move them back here. So grab one at a time and just roll it forward and place it on the pin in front and do that again. If you haven't noticed yet, this is a variation, or it's based off of, I should say, of my, what was it called? Virgo. The steps are very similar to the Virgo bracelet, but the outcome is completely different, which I love. But you may notice these same steps. Okay, so once you've moved those forward, turn your monster tail back around. And now we need to loop this middle. So we're just going to grab that bottom band there and loop it over the middle pin like that. Turn it back around. So now the dot should be on your left. And this is where the pattern is now going to start. So for now on, we will be grabbing 3 of the very first color you laid, which is the green here. And we are going to, starting from the center, go out to the left, lay 1 straight, and then to the right, like that. Now we need to lay our cat band back here. So that was my dark hunter green. So wrap that around twice. Now before you start looping, we have to turn our loom around and loop these fronts. We always do a looping step when there are 3 bands on these side pins. So we're going to bring the bottom band up and over on both side pins. And then you need to bring the bottom 2 up and over on the middle. You can turn it back around, and now we will loom out our W is what I call it. So go in the cat band. The top one, if you laid them in the same order I did, will go to the right. The center will go straight. And the bottom one will go to the left. Push it down a little, turn it around. After each step, we'll need to loop up here. So now we need to loop, we need to do an inverted stitch again. After we loop out our 3 bands, we will always need to do an inverted stitch. So we'll go in through the second, grab the bottom and bring it up. Same on the left pin, go inside the second band, grab the bottom and bring it up. So we're going to go back to my yellow, which just to show you again is this dark green one. And this time and every time going forward, we're going to lay it like a triangle. So you're going to stretch it across these 3, but also attach it to the back one like a triangle. Once you lay the triangle, we will loop over the bottom band on all 3 of these front pins. So you're just going to loop the bottom up and over. Just like that. Push it down some, and now you're going to reach back here and grab this top part of that yellow triangle, swing it forward, and you're going to bring it in front of that center pin, just like that. We're now going to grab the 2 bottom bands on this center pin here. So the 2 bands under that yellow that you just sat there will come up and over, and just do that carefully like that. We're going to turn this monster tail back around. We are now going to lay our 2 diagonal bands, which is in the shape of a V. So 1 to the left and 1 to the right. We will loop up this cat band. And as you can see, I kind of hold the middle of the 2 bands when I loop that up, just so they don't pop off. It's a little tip for you. So we're going to now turn our monster tail back around so we can loop the front side. So we are going to do an inverted stitch on these 2 pins. Every time, I don't know if you guys will remember this, but every time we lay the 2 diagonal bands, or the V bands if you would like to call it that, we do an inverted stitch. If you don't think you'll remember, it's okay. I'm going to do it a lot of times, and then at the end, when I'm done going over it, I will make sure that there is a timestamp where you can go back and continue watching it over and over so that you don't have to remember the pattern. You can just keep watching me do it over and over. So I did the inverted stitch on both of those pins. We're going to turn our loom back around, and now we need to move these 2 bands up here to the front. So I'm going to grab the top one, and I'm just going to roll it forward and reattach it up here, and the same with this one. Like that. Turn it back around, and we will loop this bottom band up and over on the center. Just like that. So turn your monster tail back around, and we are ready to start that all over again. So we will always start with the 3 bands, laying our W is how I consider it in my mind. So from the center to the left, center straight, center to the right. Before you turn it around, grab your cat band color and place a cat band on the center, like that. Before you can loop these, remember we have to turn it around and loop the front. So on the sides, we do a regular stitch. So we just bring this bottom yellow up and over on the left and the right. And now we will grab the 2 bottom bands on the center, bring that up and over. And now we can loop it out. So turn it back around. We will go in the cat band and loop all 3 of these out. So the top one goes to the right. The second one, which is the middle one, goes straight. And the last one goes to the left. They all go back to themselves. Turn it back around so we can loop it out again. And now we will do an inverted stitch. So we do an inverted stitch, go in through the center, grab the bottom and bring it up. And repeat on this side. I already pushed that down some. I'll go back to my yellow, and we're going to lay a triangle. So I do it by stretching it across the front 3 and then bringing it back. Every time we lay the triangle, we need to lift up the bottom band on each of these 3 pins. So you just bring the bottom up and over. Now we need to reach back here and grab the top part of the triangle, flip it forward and sit it on the center pin. And now we need to loop again only on the center. So you grab the 2 bands that are underneath the band that you just sat there. And do this carefully, like so. Turn it back around, and now we will lay our 2 bands, which is our V bands, my pink. So 1 to the left and 1 to the right. We'll loop up the cat band. Turn it back around. And now we will do an inverted stitch on this one. So we will go inside the second band here and grab the bottom. Loop it up. Inside the second. Grab the bottom and loop it up. You can turn it back around, and we are going to transfer these 2 bands here up to the center. So grab the top one and roll it forward and repeat. Oh no, I almost lost it. Let's see if I can save it. I saved it. Alrighty, like that. Turn it back around, and we will be looping only the center right here. This 1 band goes up and over. Like that. Turn it back around, push all that down, and that was the whole section again, so we're ready to start it all over again. So like I said, we always start with our 3. We will lay our W. So we'll go left, straight, and to the right. And now we will get our cap band and place that on the center. Before we loop that out, we will turn it around, and we're going to bring up the bottom band on the right side, the bottom band on the left side, and the 2 in the middle. Turn it around, and we will loop out all 3 bands. So the top goes to the right, second goes forward, and the last one goes to the left. Turn it around again, and we will do an inverted stitch. So we'll go inside the second, grab the bottom, bring it up, go inside the second, grab the bottom, and loop it up. We will now lay our triangle band again, which is my yellow. This feels a little stretchy. I'm going to grab another. Remember, after we lay the triangle, we always remove the very bottom band on all 3 pins. Now bring the center, the top of the triangle band to the center, and we will loop up the 2 bands on the center pin. Like that. Now, if you want to keep your loom facing this way, it's time to lay our V band, but if you do it this way, it will be an upside down V. You can leave it this way and do it like this. You can do it like that, and then you would just loop up the cap band from facing this direction, but then it's already facing you to loop these. That's up to you. I don't want to do anything that's going to confuse you guys, but I just want to let you know that's what I usually do. After you lay your V band and looped that back cap band up, we need to do an inverted stitch. So we will go in the second on this pin here and grab the bottom, invert it on this one, move the second, grab the bottom, and bring it up. Now we need to move these bands back here, up here. I've been doing it the other way around with my loom facing this way. You can keep doing that, or you can keep it this way and just grab it from here and move it forward like this. And then you're already facing this way. You just grab the bottom band here and bring it up. That's up to you. So this is actually where we start the pattern again. I'm going to do it one more time without giving you the instructions this time. And then you can keep coming back to this point to continue making the bracelet. You can just keep rewinding it to this point and watch it over and over again until you get it long enough to fit your wrist. Okay, so you would literally keep doing that over and over again. I'm going to go off and get mine long enough to fit my wrist. Then I will come back and meet you guys here, and I'll show you how to close it up. Alrighty, so I have mine long enough to fit my wrist now. You should have continuously rewound it and watched my instructions over and over to get yours long enough. I am at the point where I'm ready to start my next section, but we're not going to because we're going to close it. But make sure you are at the same point that I am, which is, again, where we would start the next section. You should have 2 bands on the side here and then the 2 in the middle, just like that. So from this point, what we are going to do is loop the bottom band up on this pin here and on here so that we only have 1 band on that pin. And then we are going to take the top band off of the center, bring it to the left, and attach it there. It should be going to the side that that band is already pulling from. So if for some reason you laid your bands different and it feels like it's pulling from this side, then bring that band to that side. You can see how mine comes from that side, which is why I want it to go to the left. And then we will bring this one to itself, which is to the right. Just like that. We're going to grab one more of whatever color you used for this band here. I used pink. We are going to attach it to the left, skip around the middle, and attach it to the right. Just like that. And now we're going to bring up these 2 bands and release, and these 2 bands and release, because I want it to where we only have 2 bands to put our C-clip on. So from here, you can just pick these both up and get them on your hook, or you can take one side and bring it to the other so that they are together like that, and that is where we will attach our C-clip. So I like to actually take it off of the loom to do it, but you can pull it out like this and then attach the C-clip. I'm going to just pop it off here like this. And to attach it to the other side, I like to grab my hook, and if you look at the bottom here, there's 2 bands down here in the center and then 2 that kind of sit up a little higher. I use my hook and I actually grab all 4 of them. If you just want to use the 2 middle, you can. But by grabbing all 4 of these, it gives it a much tighter closure. And that is where I attach my C-clip. Like that. I jumped off to do it because it's kind of hard to do because it's really tight. But that makes it a nice tight closure. And that's it. Now, the only thing I would say to do with this bracelet, there's 2 things. The first thing is it's very common for this bracelet on the sides for these borders to get tucked. You can see them up here because I already undid a lot of them. So just use your fingers or your hook for the very side bands and just go like this because they get really tucked in and then it lays better. So if any of yours are smushed or tucked in there, just pull them with your hook or your fingers and that fixes it. The only other thing is sometimes the straight yellow band here gets tucked in as well, or it's like too far up. If you just grab your hook and grab the top of it and just pull on it, it fixes it. So I didn't have a lot of problems with this one, but if that is a problem, that is something you can do to fix it. That is all of my pointers for this bracelet. But that is it. That is how you create the Taurus bracelet. I hope you guys enjoyed this monster tail design. If you make one, please tag me on Instagram at @LovesToLoom so I can see your rendition. I do appreciate it. And that's all for today. So I will see you all very soon at my next video. Thank you guys. Bye.